Here, have them. Eat the potatoes.
Welcome to Sell Without Selling Out. Story time. Our journey to becoming a successful ad agency started when we were kids. I'm Daniel Harmon, one of 9 Harmon children. We were raised in Burley, Idaho, and like most cliche Idahoans, we grew up working on a potato farm. To earn money, we would get 50-pound boxes of Idaho potatoes from my uncle's farm and drive them down to Utah with his borrowed truck. And we would go door to door and sell them to large families. We were like the Girl Scouts, but with potatoes. And Samoa's taste way better. Our pitch for selling potatoes was something like this.
Hi, I'm selling a 50-pound box of fresh potatoes from my uncle's farm. Does your family eat potatoes?
And of course they did. What kind of monster doesn't eat potatoes? Fine, I'll buy some.
Oh, thank you so much. Here, have them. Eat the potatoes.
But for the non-potato eating monster, no, I don't like potatoes.
What? What's your problem? They're delicious. I'm just trying to earn money for college because my family's really poor.
There was no wheeling and dealing. If they weren't interested, we didn't press it. We just moved on.
Rejected.
After a while, our uncle got sick of us using his truck to transport potatoes to Utah. Imagine. So he went and bought a white 15-passenger van. He came back and told us, I bought this van for you and you're buying it from me.
Okay.
First car we ever owned. It was really reliable. We blew tires on the freeway twice. We filled it up to the brim with Idaho's Bounty and called it the Spudmobile. Actually, we called it the White Twinkie. In hindsight, the Spudmobile would have probably made a lot more sense. As teenagers, we realized we could earn a lot more money selling potatoes here and there than working consistent minimum wage jobs. Our skill in sales at Harmon Brothers didn't come from books, the internet, or schooling. It came from real sales experience at an early age. Actually selling. Later in life, we served missions for our church. Again, it was knocking on doors and basically peddling the message of potatoes. I mean Jesus. We went from protecting souls to protecting homes when we did a door-to-door summer sales program with home security systems. That program taught us how to overcome objections, how to explain to people their common problems, and then provide a clear solution. We learned to sell face-to-face long before we applied the knowledge to our online video advertising. We didn't actually get into online video marketing until my brother Jeffrey, a co-founder of Harmon Brothers, was attending a marketing class at BYU in 2009. Dr. Bob had created a tongue cleaner called an Orabrush that helped cure bad breath. The product had already failed in retail, and Dr. Bob was looking for solutions. The class did a research study on how likely people would be to buy an Orabrush online and came back with a number. 7% of people. Their recommendation was to not bother selling it online. Jeffrey, the single dissenter, strongly disagreed. He said, wait a minute, 7% of people is still millions of people. Why not sell to them? Because Jeffrey believed in the product and actually knew how percentages worked, Dr. Bob asked Jeffrey to help him sell it. And for payment, Dr. Bob decided to give Jeffrey his old motorcycle. Jeffrey was a poor college student with no car, and frankly, Dr. Bob was tired of driving Jeffrey around. Jeffrey called it the White Twinkie, because he didn't learn his lesson earlier. Jeffrey brought in Neil, another Harmon brother, to build the online portion of a campaign to sell Orabrushes. They built what we would now call a funnel. They got some sales, but just some. Then Jeffrey found a video on YouTube that taught how to tell if you have bad breath. Scrape your tongue with a spoon and smell it. Jeffrey put the video on the Orabrush site and sales increased by over 30%. And so he thought, what if we did something like this, but it's branded for Orabrush and explains how it actually works? Jeffrey wrote the initial script and then brought it to his roommate, Joel Ackerman, to add in humor and help polish it up. He then approached his friend Austin Craig, who was always ranting about politics. Jeffrey thought Austin was so entertaining that he should channel his rage and be the spokesperson for the ad. And Austin would do it for cheap because he's what we call in the show business, not an actor. Jeffrey and another roommate, Devin Graham, who you may now know as Devin Supertramp, shot and directed the ad in an old pool hall. And if you listen very closely, you can actually hear pool balls in the background. And if you play the video alongside Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon, nothing syncs up. Sorry guys, we tried. Money! When they finished the video, they put it up on the website and it began to convert better than ever. The timing was great. Jeffrey got in on running YouTube ads when they were less than a penny per view. Once everything was optimized on the website, the sales came in like crazy. Not much later, Orabrush became a multi-million-dollar business. The success online propelled the Orabrush into retail stores like Walgreens, CVS, and this little boutique shop called Walmart. We later moved on from Orabrush in order to do the Poopery campaign. We figured we had solved the bad smell problem coming from the mouth, So we should start working on solving the bad smell problem coming from the South. Harmon Brothers as an ad agency was very much an afterthought. When the Poopery video launched, it took off. It was picked up in the press by Adweek, Forbes, Huffington Post, and they all cited creative agency Harmon Brothers. We read that and we're like, yeah, I guess we're an agency, and technically we're brothers, so... And the name stuck. For now, we're still trying to think of another name. We briefly talked about calling it the White Twinkie. Even after our initial success, it took a while for the company to take off. We had campaigns here and there and many views, but we weren't really growing. It wasn't until Squatty Potty that our work started to really pay off. We've been around for almost 5 years now, so we're technically still a startup. But the main takeaways from our origin story is the importance of real sales experience. Whether that's in summer sales, retail sales, phone sales, car sales, cold calling sales. These jobs might not be seen as glamorous, but in order to make sales, you have to do sales. So practice actually selling. Test your sales pitch. Test, test, test. We'll be sharing more stories, principles, and marketing wisdom here soon. We're glad to have you along.